Yo, what's going on YouTube? We back at it with another video. As you can see, we've been really active recently. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment down below on what you want to see next. Today, we're talking about the airflow. Does giving your plants more airflow actually make them grow faster? And is there a point where you can have too much airflow? Because you might think the more your plants are moving around, the better they're growing. But that's not necessarily how it works. So let's talk about how airflow versus not enough airflow and what I personally look for in my grow. First, let's talk about what happens when you barely have any air moving around your plants. When your plant starts getting bigger and the canopy gets thicker, you have leaves sitting on top of other leaves and branches packed together. That's when airflow becomes even more important. You don't want pockets of warm, humid, stagnant air just sitting around the canopy. That's why I like having air move above and around my plants, but I'm also making sure the lower parts aren't completely blocked off. And this is something you can actually see. If almost nothing on your plants is moving and certain areas feel completely still, you might need to improve how the air is circulating. Now here's the important part. You shouldn't look at a fan like some type of growth booster, where turning it from level 2 to 10 suddenly makes your plants grow twice as fast. That's not really the point. Good airflow is about supporting a healthy growing environment. Gentle movement can encourage stronger stems. Circulation helps prevent stagnant areas around your plants. So airflow can definitely be a part of creating good growing conditions, but more isn't automatically better. And this is where people can go wrong. If you got a powerful fan pointing directly at one of the sections of the plants all day, those leaves can take a beating. You don't need your plants looking like they're outside in a hurricane. I personally look for gentle movement. I want to see the leaves moving around a little bit. I want to see air circulating through the tent, but I don't want one plant getting blasted non-stop. If the leaves closer to your fan are constantly whipping around, drying out, curling, or looking stressed while everything farther away looks normal, that's a sign. I'd start looking at the fan placement or speed. And this brings me to something that's probably even more important than just fan speed, where you put your fans. Instead of thinking, how powerful can I make this fan? Think, how can I get the air moving throughout this entire space? That's a huge difference. In my setup, I'm using the Spider Farmer equipment in the GGS ecosystem to help keep my environment controlled. As my plants have gotten bigger, I've started to pay more attention to where the air can actually travel. A fan that worked perfectly when your plants were small might not cover everything once you got a thick canopy. So here's the easiest way I can explain what I personally want to see. I don't want completely still leaves, but I don't want the leaves getting blasted either. I want that slight consistent movement where I can tell the air is circulating around the plants. And don't forget, underneath the canopy, you can have plenty of movement across the top while the bottom is packed with leaves and barely getting any air circulation. That's another reason why managing your canopy becomes more important as your plants get larger. So does airflow make your plants grow faster? Not simply because you're giving them more air. What you're really trying to do is create an environment that supports healthy growth. Not enough airflow can create stagnant areas. Too much direct airflow can stress your plants. Somewhere in the middle is what we're looking for, consistent circulation and gentle movement throughout the grow space. So don't automatically turn your fans all the way up because you think more airflow equals growth. Watch your plants, look at the leaves, check different areas of your canopy, and adjust based on what you're actually seeing. If you enjoyed the video, stay tuned for these next couple of clips. More tips on the way. It's being, how high should your light really be? Because you can have a good light, a good environment, everything looking right, but if the light is sitting too close or too far away, your plants might start showing you. And that's what I want to talk about today, not just picking one random number and saying your light has to be exactly this many inches away. I want to show you what I actually look for to figure out whether my plants are happy with where their light is. Let's start with the light being too far away. When I'm looking at my plants, I don't want to see them constantly reaching and stretching, trying to get closer to the light. A little growth upwards is obviously normal, but if I start noticing that plant getting taller and taller while the growth is still looking more stretched out than I want, that's something I'm really paying attention to. Because I don't just want height, I want the plant that's filling out. I want a good structure and good coverage. I want the light actually reaching areas where I'm trying to grow. So if the light is way up there and the plant is way down here, simply turning the light up isn't always my first answer. Sometimes I'm looking at the actual distance between the plant and the light. But then you have the complete opposite problem, because if too far can be a problem, you might think, why not just bring the light a little bit closer? And that's where you can go far into the other direction. If I move my light closer and increase the intensity, I'm watching how the plants react afterward. If the top growth starts looking stressed and the leaves start changing positions, or the plants just don't seem as comfortable as they did before, those are things I'm paying attention to. and that's why I don't like making huge adjustments all at once. If everything looked good yesterday and I make a change today, then tomorrow everything looks stressed. I have a pretty good idea of what changed, and this is what everybody probably clicked the video for. What's the perfect distance? The answer is going to depend on the light you're using and the intensity and the growth stage and what the manufacturer recommends for that specific fixture. That's why I wouldn't copy someone else's exact hanging height just because their plants look good. Their light might not be the same as yours. Their intensity might not even be the same. Even their plant canopy can be completely different. For my setup, I start with the recommended range for my light. Then I watch the plants. That gives me a starting point instead of just guessing, finding the sweet spot. I don't want the plants stretching like crazy trying to find more light, but I also don't want the top of my canopy getting more intensity than it can comfortably handle. I want them growing steadily and looking comfortable, and another thing I think is important is keeping the canopy in mind. If one plant is way taller than everything else, then that changes things, because now the top of that plant might be much closer to the light while everything else is further away. That's one reason keeping more of an even canopy can make lighting easier to manage. And whenever I change my light height, I don't immediately come back 5 minutes later and change it again. I give the plant some time. I actually want to see their response. That's something I've learned with growing in general. Sometimes constantly changing things makes it harder to figure out what the original problem even was. Make your adjustment, watch the new growth, watch the top of the plant, pay attention to the stretching, and then decide whether another adjustment is actually necessary. So too close or too far, neither one is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that middle ground where the plants are getting the light they need without showing signs of intensity or a distance working against them. And remember, don't just copy a random hanging height you see online. Check the recommendations for your specific grow light and then pay attention to what your plants are showing you. If you enjoyed this part of the video, make sure you hit that like button. We're going to talk about some of the seedling stages that we went through. Stay tuned. We're going to be taking a look at some videos from the seedling stage watering process to the flowering stage watering process. So stay tuned for that, and we're going to hop straight into the video. Seedlings right here. Here goes the cosmic cheddar. Looking good, looking good. Gotta do some watering on her because as you can see, the rim is definitely dry. And usually I keep that wet. Then we got the Astro Lemonade right here. I don't know why my camera's not trying to focus right now, but I hope y'all get a good view of that, including the Cosmic Cheddar OG. I added that OG part, it's really called Cosmic Cheddar. But yeah, I'm gonna show y'all how to water them correctly and grab your little spray bottle and let's hop straight into it. Alright, so once you get to a spray bottle, you wanna make sure the settings to where it's not shooting mist. Just a little, straight shot like that. You go around, hold on, let me zoom in a little bit for y'all. Alright, so you're gonna go around the rim. Not too hard, just gentle little sprays. Then you go a little bit further up, like someone told me you want to spray outward also, so I'm gonna go like this. Hold on. So we're gonna go more outward, and we went kind of towards a shower type of spray, not like straight shot or straight mist, just like a shower type. Make sure y'all see that. And then for this final touch, you want to make sure you just give it a little mist spray. And then you're gonna do the same thing for this one, so you can kind of see the difference right here. See how the round is, moist, dry. And you just got a full dry right here to where you can't even see the seedling unless you zoom in. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start on this right here. Remember I said you're gonna do a straight shot, so. Outside you get shower time. And after you're done with that, like I said, a little mist. This one hasn't sprouted over here yet. Should sprout later today, but just because we're gonna get it all moist. Keeps the humidity up anyways. We probably shouldn't have had that in there. It's our temp humid light sensor. But yeah, man, that's how we water. Hope this helps y'all out. Remember, this is dry, this is wet. This is when you know you need to water again when it looks like this. keep them moist, keep it humid inside for the seedling stage. Some people do prefer to take off the seed cap. So if you do prefer that, I mean, that's on you. I just let it fall off naturally, so yeah. And from there, that's how I did my watering during the seedling stage. We're gonna go ahead and hop into the next stage and show y'all what I did for that phase. Today, we're talking about watering during the early vegetative stage and why the way you water can be just as important as how much you water. A lot of new growers focus on nutrients, light, and equipment, but proper watering habits can have a huge impact on how the plant develops throughout its entire life cycle. Now that we're moving out the seedling stage into the early veg stage, the plant is starting to grow faster. You'll begin to see more leaves develop. The stem will start thickening up, and below the soil, the root system is expanding every single day. Our goal isn't just to grow the plant above the soil, it's also to encourage a strong and healthy root system underneath it. One method I like to use is watering in a circular motion. Instead of pouring all the water directly around the stem, I slowly water in circles around the plant. By placing water on the outside areas of the container, you're encouraging the roots to stretch and search for more moisture instead of staying all bunched up in one area. The tool I use for this is very simple. I take a regular water bottle and poke a small hole through the top center of the cap. This gives me a slow, controlled stream of water that allows me to be much more precise when watering. Rather than dumping a bunch of water into the pot all at once, I can slowly guide the water exactly where I want it to go. When I water, I usually start towards the outer edge of the root zone and work my way inward towards the stem. I make sure it's in circular motion. I find that this helps distribute moisture more evenly throughout the container. It also helps prevent creating one constantly wet spot right next to the stem while the rest of the pot remains dry. Another reason I like this method is because it slows me down. Sometimes growers can get impatient and end up overwatering without realizing it. Using the water bottle method helps me focus and take my time and pay attention to how the soil is absorbing the moisture. It becomes easier to notice when enough water has been added and when it's time to stop. One mistake a lot of people make in early veg is thinking bigger plants automatically need tons of water. While the plant is growing faster than it was when it was a seedling, the root system still needs oxygen. Constantly soaking the soil can reduce airflow around the roots and slow down growth. That's why I like letting the plant tell me when it's time to water again rather than watering on a strict schedule. As the days go by and the plant gets larger, I'll gradually expand my watering circles farther out. This continues to encourage the root development throughout the entire container. The more roots the plant has access to, the more efficiently it can absorb water and nutrients later on. A strong root system is one of the foundations of a successful grow. Healthy roots can help support stronger stems, larger leaves, faster growth, and a healthier overall plant. Even though we can't always see what's happening below the soil, a lot of future success of the plant starts there. Right now, we're focused on building that foundation. We're not chasing huge growth overnight. We're allowing the roots to establish themselves, allowing the stem to strengthen, and allowing the plant to naturally develop before moving into deeper vegetative stage. That's the watering method. I've been using it here in the early veg stage. The simple water bottle with a hole poked through the cap, combined with watering in circular motions from the outside towards the inside. It's a method that's working great for me, giving me more control and encouraging the root expansion. Sometimes the smallest techniques can make a big difference. A few extra minutes spent watering carefully today could pay off with a stronger, healthier plant later on in the grow. That's why you always gotta know, the growing game is a game of patience. Every stage builds the last one. The work you put in during early veg helps set a stage for everything that's still to come. Let me know down in the comments how you water your plants during early veg. If you ever tried the water bottle method before. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. But we're not ending it here. We're going to the next phase and showing you how I water during then. Stay tuned for the next couple clips. Today, we're talking about watering in the mid-vegetative stage. This is one of those topics that always doesn't get as much attention as things like topping or low-stress training. But in my opinion, watering is one of the biggest factors that can influence how your plants continue to develop. You can have good genetics, good lighting, and the right environment, but if your watering habits aren't keeping up with your plant's growth, you're making things harder than what they need to be. If you've been watching the previous videos, you already know I've been using a bottle cap watering method since these plants were seedlings. I like it because it lets me water slowly instead of dumping a large amount of water into one spot. It gives the growing medium time to absorb the moisture evenly. It helps prevent runoff too quickly and makes it easier to stay in control of how much water each plant receives. But here's the thing, A watering technique that used to work during the seedling stage isn't always going to be the best technique for your plants during the mid-vegetative stage. As these plants continue growing, the stems get thicker, the branches spread further out, and most importantly, the root systems expand throughout the container. That means your watering strategy has to grow right along with your plants. Early on, I mainly watered around the base of the plant, using slow circular motions because the roots were still concentrated near the center. Now that we're further into veg, the roots have spread much farther, so watering only around the stem isn't enough anymore. The bottle cap method still works great, but now I'm adjusting where I can apply the water so I'm reaching a much larger portion of the root zone. Instead of thinking about watering the stem, I'm thinking about watering the entire root system. I still move slowly with a bottle cap, but I'm covering more of the area throughout the pot, allowing moisture to spread across the container instead of focusing on one small section. It's a small adjustment, but it can make a big difference between how your plants continue to mature. Another thing I've learned is that every grow is different. Two plants growing side by side can dry out at different speeds depending on how large they are. It could be how much airflow they have and how dense the foliage has become. That's why I don't rely on strict watering schedules. Instead, I pay attention to what the plants are doing and the growing medium are telling me. As the plants get bigger, they'll naturally begin to use more water than they did just a week or two ago. Recognizing those changes and adjusting your routine is all a part of becoming a better grower. Watering isn't just about giving your plants something to drink, it's about supporting a healthy root development from start to finish. Healthy roots are what support strong stems, ferocious vegetative growth, and eventually a canopy that's ready to produce quality flowers later on. And the way you see me watering here is about how I watered for the rest of the stages to come. I'm going to show y'all how my flowering stage is looking right now, so stay tuned. This video is in my current flowering stage. I'm going to show you guys that video in a second, but I just wanted to show you a clip before. Here's our flowering stage plants. Just got done feeding. They're a little bit droopy right now. They always do that after I feed them for some reason, but they're going to bounce back. I'm going to show you guys the update pictures and video. And this is going to be the end of the video. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, drop a comment down below on what you want next. Let me know some problems you had in the comments and how you fix them. And we are out.